This video is sponsored by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence. What if I can't do this? What if I don't have the skills to do this? The book is currently sitting at 70,000 words. Spent a long time setting this particular bit up. It's really exciting. There's lots of things being revealed. It's really fun. Hello everyone and welcome to another writing vlog. We are going to be doing another Project Teacup writing vlog today, and it's been a while. It has been a little while. It's also been a while since I've worked on it, unfortunately. Like, just being completely honest. I know it's currently NaNoWriMo, but yeah, this has so far been my worst month for working on the book. The book is currently sitting at, I don't even know how many words. How many words is the book sitting at? A number. I think the book's currently sitting somewhere between 60 and 70,000 words. I'll tell you the specific word count in a moment. Work stuff has been absolutely insane over the course of the last few weeks. I have just been really bogged down with a significant workload. So essentially, as a result of all of this like messiness and very long work hours and me trying to keep my head above water and do everything, I've not had very much time to work on Project Teacup, which has been heartbreaking because I had my deadline. I was so certain I was going to get to this deadline, and now I'm really nervous as to whether or not I'm going to get to this deadline. There's no point stressing about it now. We're going to work on the book in this vlog. I can fill you guys in more on how the story is going, where we're up to, but I'm going to grab some tea first. Let's do that. It is not as bad as I thought. The book is currently sitting at 70,197 words, and if I were writing the book to be 100, like that, like, okay, so just to back up a little bit, genre is important here. Because I'm writing a fantasy novel, the sort of standard size for when you're submitting a commercial fantasy is around 100,000 words. For a regular novel, 100,000 words is supposed to be a little bit too long. You're supposed to have it be like somewhere between 70 to 90,000 words, or at least that's what I've read from all of the research I've done. I'm aiming for this draft, for draft 2 of Project Teacup, to be around 120,000 words, which means that because I'm currently at 70,000 words, I still have quite a way to go, which is fine. It's absolutely fine. The only reason why it's a little bit stressful is because I had a deadline to get everything done, a self-imposed deadline. However, I don't know that that's realistic now for me to get it done beforehand. The book is currently sitting at 70,000 words. I'm going to sit up here on the couch today, try and get some work done. I haven't worked on this 2 weeks since I've last worked on it, which feels like a really long time. Feels like a long time to have not made any progress. But yeah, I'm gonna set up on the couch today. I'm gonna see how I go. Today's vlog is just gonna be a really laid back, like, writing vlog as I try and smash out hopefully a lot of words today. Who knows? Sometimes when I take a big break from writing, I come back and I write like 5,000 words in a sitting, like the Saturday, October 15th, where I wrote 5,600 words in one day. And those weren't like sloppy words. Like I was happy with them. That was like 6 hours of writing though. I was doing like a whole bunch of other work this morning. It's now 11 a.m. I have some time to do some writing. Let's get to it. Let's start working on this portion of Project Teacup at the 70,000 word mark. I have written, how many words is that? Like 700? Let's have a little bit of a look. Okay, we're up to 70,092 words. That's 775 words for this very first writing session of the day. That's pretty good. I do feel like I'm benefiting from having taken a really big break. I also am at a point in the story where there's a lot happening and it sort of feels like, not that the pacing is quick, but just that like I know exactly what I'm writing before I start writing, because I'm really excited to get to this bit, and I've spent a long time setting this particular bit up. It's really exciting. There's sort of things being revealed. It's really fun. 775 words over the course of just about an hour. It's now lunchtime, so I'm gonna go grab some lunch and then get back to writing. I'm probably going to hop over to my desk. I really like sitting here. I like sitting in a different spot to where I normally sit, and I've mentioned a few times that I get easily distracted, and it's really helpful for me to change up where I'm sitting, and it kind of like helps me to work on my tablet, because my tablet doesn't have nearly the same level of distractions that my desktop has. Sitting on the couch here is quite uncomfortable. Like, you guys can probably tell my posture is not amazing when I'm using this teeny tiny little screen. In an ideal world, we would have a dining table. We don't own a dining table, so we have this couch, or I can sit at my desk. So I'm hopeful that today is going to be a really good writing day. Like 775 words in about an hour is really good. Words aren't always the best metric for progress in a story. I've had quite a few comments from people saying, why do you track how much you're writing in terms of words? Like, shouldn't it be about the quality, and shouldn't it be about getting through the story at whatever pace suits you? And the thing is that when you're trying to get through a novel in a reasonable amount of time, it really helps to understand how quickly you write, how much progress you're making, because there are some days where it's really hard to get words down. There are some days where you don't really feel like writing. There are some days where you don't feel inspired and when you don't feel like pushing through. And I think being able to mark down how many words you're getting with each writing session helps encourage you to push through. At least this is my experience. This is how it works for me. If I give up, like if I'm like, okay, there's 100 words, it's not very good. I'm not very good today. I'm terrible at everything. The world is bad, and my writing is bad, and I'm never going to be published. And I go down this little spiral, this fun, joyful little spiral. Those words that I'm writing aren't necessarily bad. It's normally just a headspace thing. And so I find the word count thing really helpful to encouraging me to push through, even if I feel like I'm having a bad writing day. That was my big long spiel on that. I'm gonna go get some lunch and then take a very small break and then come back to writing. But before I do all of that, I just wanted to thank the sponsor of this video, which is Squarespace. Squarespace is a website builder which allows people to create stunning websites with ease. As many of you are aware, I have been working with Squarespace for a very long time. I love their platform, and my own website was built through Squarespace. I couldn't be happier with how quick and simple it was to put together and how easy it is to maintain. Squarespace has loads of benefits which make it easy to show off the things that you make. It has powerful blogging tools so you can categorize, share, and schedule posts, and also has wonderful analytics features to help you understand the people who are visiting your website. If you're looking to make a website, head to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/ChristyAnnJones to save 10% off your purchase of a website or domain. Currently sitting on 72,130 words, which means that so far today I've written 1,933 words. So that's really good. I'm really pleased with that, actually. I'm still in the bit of the story where everything's really exciting, and this one particular bit that I'm working on right now feels like everything's been leading up to this one specific moment, and from this moment we sort of go into a whole bunch of other stuff. I hope I am describing this in such a way that's vague enough without me revealing too much of the plot. lot. All of this stuff is subject to change, which is why I don't speak about specifics and I don't want to reveal too much. I don't want to reveal spoilers. Yeah, it's a really fun bit in the story that I'm working on right now, so I'm having a good time, concentrating really well now, which is fabulous. If you guys have watched the other writing vlogs in this series, you'll know that when I was in between doing draft 1 and draft 2 of this story, I took a little bit of time to essentially re-plot out all of my key plot beats onto sticky notes on this visual planning website that I used. And then from those sticky notes is what I used to write this second draft of the story. So I completely scrapped the first draft, and this is the first time I've ever done that. I never normally do that, but I completely scrapped the first draft and just wrote from memory, like remembering what I'd written the first time and also using these like sticky note structural bits and pieces. At this point in the story, at the like 72,000 word mark, I've kind of diverged from using the sticky notes because they're a little, like the general beats of the story are still the same. They're still generally going in the same direction, but I've found that by this point of the story, there are certain scenes that are taking many more words to write, and there are certain bits that are taking many more words than I thought they would, and I'm sort of finding that I need to find better ways to problem solve certain things and to get characters from A to C and skipping B so that there's enough words to work with so that the story isn't like 200,000 words long. It's such a funny thing that when you get down and you start actually writing a novel, 100,000 words doesn't feel like enough words. Like it's such a small amount to have so many different various plot lines and threads going through it. But yeah, it's been a challenge. It's been a fun challenge. I am plodding away on this day. I'm so glad I have a decent amount of writing time today because I've really missed writing. Whenever I take a break from it, I get a little bit sad and I just want to go back to writing, and I feel very lucky to have time today to be able to work on this, so I'm quite pleased with that. There's a specific thing I'm about to get to, and I'm a little bit nervous about getting to it because I'm not 100% sure how to fix this very small problem that I have that a lot of things are hinging on, and so I need to do a little bit of brainstorming for this one thing. So I might grab my notebook. Momentarily back in this room just doing some more brainstorming. I didn't really write very many words in that session, mostly because I was going through and doing some editing bits and pieces. I feel like today is a nice little snapshot for this particular moment in the journey of writing Project Teacup, in the process of doing this thing. It's a big, daunting, scary process, and I'm really loving getting the opportunity to share it with you guys. I will say actually something that's been really helping me is actually this little timer here, and it's really helpful because it's a visual timer. I can't do this one-handed. I can just twist this little thing here and then it changes the time and I can just see it and it doesn't have to beep. The reason why I use a timer initially was because I use the Pomodoro technique a lot, which is essentially, if you haven't heard of it, it's a pretty well known process where you work for like 20 minutes, then you take a small break, and then you sort of like repeat this sort of concentration and then break pattern over and over again, and it really helps with concentration. And so I do that a lot on days when I'm feeling a little bit frazzled and I can't concentrate. But I have been using the timer mostly at the moment because I've been having a few problems with like getting neck pain and stuff. I was talking about the couch earlier and it not being super ergonomic. I'm mostly good now. I've been going to the physio, but I've been having problems with this, with getting like basically like upper shoulder to neck pain and getting headaches. Since I was a small child, I've just sort of always had a problem with this. It's something that I try not to dwell on and I just try to kind of manage it. But the best way for me to manage that is to like do these exercises for like back strengthening and to do stretches and all of this stuff, and to actually frequently get up from my chair. So the physio has told me that I need to get better at getting up from my desk and moving around and not sort of sitting in the same spot for a very long time, because if my posture's bad, then I sort of like injure my upper back muscles and my neck, and it makes the pain really bad, and then I sort of get into a rut with it like being really bad for a few weeks, and then it's just like it can get really frustrating. So I'm trying to be better. Every time I sit down at my desk now, I sort of set this timer for 45 minutes, and then at the end of the 45 minutes I get up and I move around and I do my stretches. It's not a super comfortable way for me to work, because it kind of stops me from getting into flow state a bit, and it can be a little bit disruptive when I just really do want to concentrate on what I'm doing. But me concentrating so in-depthly on certain things is actually part of the problem, because I end up sitting in the same like little goblin prawn position for like ages and ages, and then I end up injuring myself. So it's better that I do this and I put effort into getting up and stretching. And yeah, I am pretty much just procrastinating at this point. I need to go back to writing. I've done some more brainstorming. I'm pretty sure I know what I want to do in terms of getting through this spot. I did some editing, so I think maybe I've written like a net positive of maybe 200 words. I did a bunch of editing just then, so I deleted stuff and then I wrote stuff, and so like the progress isn't great at the moment, but I'll let you guys know how my progress is going after I check in with you guys again. The story is currently sitting at 73,421 words, which means that I have written 3,224 words today. It's currently 5:21 p.m. and I think I'm going to do one more writing session. Probably going to write until 6 p.m. I was looking at this really pivotal scene that I had in which chapter was it? Chapter 17 or chapter 18, this really pivotal scene, and I'd rewritten it completely anew in draft 2. As I'd mentioned, I'm writing everything from scratch, and then I went back and I had a look at the sort of like ghost scene of what had come before in my very first draft, and the characterization of this particular character was so different. I liked it way more in the second draft, and so that's really, I suppose, buoying me along. I hope that this draft is a lot better than the first draft, and I believe that it is, but trying to find the pathway for this story, even though I have like a pretty strong idea of where it's going to go, but it's really important to me to never let myself be constrained by the plot that I've already written. Like, I think it's just important to really like organically find where the story needs to go, because I think that for me that's the best way I can do characters and the best way I can, you know, write an authentic story, or at least as authentic as I can possibly make it. But sort of trying to now make the novel live up to this image that I have in my head of what I want it to be is very scary, and I sort of sit here and I'm like, what if I can't do this? What if I don't have the skills to do this? But I suppose this is kind of fundamental to the process I have with everything I make. You know, making A Year in Tōkyō, do I have a copy here? Making my little self-published book that I made, I had so many moments along the way where I was like, I'm not good enough to make this. I don't have the skills for this. I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not a professional illustrator. I can't do this. I'm terrible at everything. I think for me as a creative, and I think for a lot of other creative people that I've met and spoken to, this is also a part of their process. Having these days or weeks where you're just terrified that you're not good enough for the thing that you're making and you don't have the skills. But I feel like that's a marker that you're working on something that's pushing you creatively. Like, if you were just making something that's like very easy and you can be apathetic about it and you don't have to work really hard, then you're not growing as an artist, as a writer, as a creative person. I think you have to push yourself to do things you haven't done before when you're writing in order to keep growing. And I think that that's just part and parcel of the writing process. At least it is for me. And I just sort of have to shush that little bit in my brain that says, you know, like, you're not good enough, you don't have the skills, you should have done this, or you should have done that, you should have read this book, you should have studied this thing more before you start embarking on this story and before you write the story. It's fun. It's a really fun time being a creative person, because so much of it is just your brain yelling at you. I'm gonna have one last little writing session. In the end, we managed to get the story up to 73,805 words, which is a total of 3,608 words written today. To be honest, I did think I was going to write a little bit more than that. I was hoping that I'd have another amazing 5,000 word day. We did end up on 3,600 words instead. I think because I had to spend a lot of time editing stuff. This is a much more complex story than anything I've written before, and I'm trying to find the sort of sweet spot between making the story complex and interesting enough and not bogging down the reader with too much information and too many various things going on. Sort of trying to, at the moment, find where that spot sort of is, exactly like where I need that to be, at least where I need that to be in this point of the drafting process. The characters are slowly getting fleshed out. I'm really excited to write this sort of like last section. I feel happy with where it's going. I think it's making headway. I think I'm okay with the direction of the story. If I speak about this book in 2 days' time, if you come back to me in 3 days' time, maybe I'll feel completely differently. It's entirely possible that that will happen. But right now, today, I feel really good about the story. It is like just after 6 p.m. and I'm gonna finish work on this for today. Thank you for coming along with me for this very laid back Project Teacup vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed getting to see the progress on this story. An enormous thank you to everyone over on Patreon for supporting my work. I do a lot of like bonus content over there, bonus videos, our book club. We have a private Discord server. I do writing updates over there as well. So if you'd like to check out Patreon, there's a link in the description down below. Take care everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.